This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is the IT in the D Show. This show is broadcasting live from Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming and is part of the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Life of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D Show.
Just where do you guys think you are? The Library of Congress? Detroit?
Beyond the sun?
Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
I used to hang out at the Magumbo Bar. It was a rough place, the seediest dive on the wharf, populated with every reject and cutthroat from Bombay to Calcutta. It's worse than Detroit.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
I dig you IT geeks. This is Dre DeMatteo from Sons of Anarchy. You are listening to IT in the D. Dear me.
What happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bunghole?
Exactly. Come on. Someone tries. What the hell with this? I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the show.
Hi, this is Ralph Macchio, and you're listening to IT in the D Show. Wax on, you know what.
Why would, Buick put their cars next to, the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT in the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the geek off.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, John Kreese from the Karate Kid movie, and you're listening to IT in the D.
Yes, Sensei!
You're not very informative, but wow, are you entertaining.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT in the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds? Nerds.
Nerds!
What is a nerd?
I'm a geek, not a nerd.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump Pump. IT in the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
You're in your underwear, I'm in my underwear. Hey, let's hang out.
No, I'm sorry, honey. I have a headache.
I definitely want to see Bob in his underwear. That's a fact.
No, who's banging on the wang.
I have to
Skeptical
say.
Dave is skeptical.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
It's just too big. It's way too big.
We just lost our clean tag on iTunes.
This is Robert Hayes, a tit striker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo Bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat stick.
Turn your microphone off. Just get out.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guy. Ho!
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do. The question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
We are live. Welcome back, and thank you for listening. This is episode 102, the July 27th edition of the IT in the D Show. We are hanging out in the brand spanking new Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming in beautiful Ferndale, Michigan. This is Bob the Sales Guy, always here with Dave the Geek. Nuri, the BOM, is back off assignment in Tokyo, and he is live in studio. Find us online, itinthed.com. Hit us up on all the social. Happy hoo-ha. We are, actually, it's going to be a phenomenal show. We are lucky and privileged to have two amazing guests today. Segment 2, we are actually joined by Dan Lorman, the former CSO from the state of Michigan, who is now the Chief Security Officer for Security Mentor. We're going to be talking about all the fun stuff going on in the security world, all the Chrysler hacking into cars and all that good stuff. And then segment 3, we got Michelle Gilbert here. She is the Vice President of Public Relations for Comcast in the Heartland region. We're going to talk about the good stuff, the bad stuff, and everything in between. But there's a lot of great stuff going on with Comcast, and we're happy to have both of them there. And we are enjoying, as always, delicious Falling Down beer. Find them at 10 in DeQuinder and soon to be in Oxford. Ninja Chicken on tap in studio. Things could be worse, I suppose.
Yeah, always. And gee, the new place in Oxford. Oh darn, they're going to be doing wine and distillery spirits there.
We told them we're going to make a Slim Jim whiskey. It's on.
like we said, we missed a lot. You missed a lot while you were gone, man.
2 weeks is a long time. All kinds of things happen to you guys.
But hey, real quick, this episode 102 of this show is brought to you by Braintree. If you haven't heard of them, it's actually code for easy online payments. If you are building a mobile app, looking for an easy payment solution, a simple one, check out Braintree. They accept different payment types, including PayPal, Apple Pay, Bitcoin, Venmo, cards, all with a simple integration. Developers, this is strictly for you. Don't worry about taking days to integrate payments with Braintree. You can actually do it in minutes. 10 lines of in-app code, very elegant documentation. Even if you don't have time, give them a call. They'll handle the integration for you. Supports Android, iOS, JavaScript, SDKs in 7 languages, .NET, JavaScript, Perl, PHP, Python, Ruby. They got you covered. So if you're building an app, want to handle payments that's simple and easy to do, check out Braintree. Actually, if you go to BraintreePayments.com/IT, you'll get your first $50,000 in transactions for free.
And we're sure about the slash this time?
Yes.
Okay.
BraintreePayments.com/IT. No coupon codes.
No, or a coupon code? No coupon codes?
Either one.
Okay.
But we know a few guys developing apps. This would be an absolute slam dunk for them. So
I'm just stuck on the fact that they take Bitcoin. I mean, what kind of mobile provider? I don't think any of them accept Bitcoin. That's so cool.
It's rare. It's rare.
That's awesome.
First Subway, now everybody. go figure.
Yay for dark web transactions. Woo!
Exactly.
Visit my Onion at.
Right.
But yeah, we appreciate. Give Braintree a look-see, and we are live. This has been a nutty week. We usually, so just to give some backstory, we send. If you read an article and you're like, hey, that's show worthy, we'll email it back and forth. I think this is the longest string of emails I think we've ever had. We're up over 40.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Oh my God, you got to read this articles. I don't even know where to start.
I know where I want to start. I want to start right because we talked about this last week. We posted something on our Facebook page, and there was one person in particular that you and I both know that was an arrogant SOB and didn't believe it was an issue, didn't think it was a problem. And but it is. If you own a Chrysler vehicle between the years 2013 and 2015 and you have a Uconnect system, oops. Apparently, because there was a fun little exercise where somebody hacked into a car from 10 miles away over the open internet with no physical access to the vehicle beforehand whatsoever, no collusion other than the part of the driver, other than it's a friend of theirs and they said, hey, we're going to try something out. Are you okay if we do this? He said, yeah. She said, yeah. And they basically took her Jeep into a ditch.
They pull her e-brake while she's going 50.
Oh, yeah. Disengaged her transmission. They played with the radio, put their photo up on her screen, laughing at her as they were doing things. Yeah.
Well, Dan, what were you saying during the pre-show regarding the whole USB patch? And it's just basically an open license to take over your damn car.
Yeah, I was very concerned by the answer, which was you can download a USB patch to a home. Actually, you can get it from Chrysler, or you can actually download this from your home PC and get the software, put it in your car, and load it. But what does that do with the hackers out there? I think it's really a stupid solution, quite
You're
frankly.
giving it to them too, no?
Well, not only that, but I mean, the fear that I have is that in the future, people are going to fall for this, almost like they fall for phishing scams. That
you'll just start having USB sticks show up in your inbox. It says it's from Chrysler. I better put it in my car.
It'll have some spelling mistakes in it.
New features, new opportunities, and maybe other cars in the same kind of thing. So, I mean, people start believing that just like you can get a fix for an update for software, an operating system, whatever. Now you're going to have to worry about
1 month of free Pandora if you plug in this red evil USB drive.
I think it's a mistake. I mean, I drive two Chryslers, the earlier versions,
right?
So they're not 2010, so I don't have to worry about that. But I'll tell you
well, I look at my father-in-law. 67-year-old dude with his new Dodge Ram that he just bought.
Wow. Yeah.
Where do I plug this USB stick into? What's a USB stick?
Right. No, he knows nothing about this. Because they're off camping and yada yada. And I'm I'm gonna have to tell him about this. And how do I put this in the context and terms that this guy who's Captain old school Harley dude, Vietnam War vet, guy that was what are they called, the Uber mechanic guys on the lines, he millwrights, he did that for 30 years. Computers are not his thing. So I'm trying to figure out how to explain to him that the computer in his car has a problem, and here's how we're going to fix. Or do I just go there one day with everything downloaded on a USB stick and just give me your keys for a sec. Don't ask questions. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
See, you guys all thought I was stupid for buying that '76 Cadillac. I'm laughing at y'all now. I'm just saying, no computer, 8-track player, kiss my ass.
Well, I think it begs the question too: is what other cars have the same issues? I mean, not just Chrysler. I mean, are we going to see? What do you think, guys? Are we going to see Ford? Are we going to see GM? Are we going to see similar issues in the next 6 months in other vehicles?
I think it's open season, right? So now we know we can target somebody by IP address and do that to their car. What happens if I start playing war games on IP addresses? I start pulling the emergency brake on everybody in that IP subnet, right?
Well, and that was my whole point, is you can basically set up a scanner on the side of a highway or the side of a main thoroughfare and just start harvesting information with a port scanner. That's all you need to do.
Right,
and
so
guess
if one
what?
can be hacked, how many more can be hacked?
Well, not only that, but by and large, people take the same route to work back and forth every day. Coupon. So you know that tomorrow at about the same time as a boot. Now you go Canadian on me? Sorry. As those same cars are driving by, you now have their IP addresses and can just start wailing on them. It's not a pretty picture.
I think they have to come up with a different method to deal with this, and I know people, there's 1.4 million cars, you can go get a recall, I have a lot of friends at Chrysler, it's a great company, I tell you, I think this is scary.
Well, how far gone is it? Because now I got the Wi-Fi's on my car, and so help me God, you take them away, right? And you're stuck. It's almost like, don't you dare track me on my phone, but don't you dare take away my GPS Google Maps. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you can't have one without the other.
You can't take away my Wi-Fi, but so help me God, if my kids can't watch Netflix in the back of the car to keep them shut up,
Exactly.
I'll murder everyone.
Right?
Yeah, you're right.
I know the new Audis are like roving hotspots as well. You've got a 4G hotspot built into your car.
We've had the Audi discussion
with the default password.
I'm sure. Well, because Audi, every commercial of theirs where our car makes 4,000 decisions every second.
Now let's give it an
I
IP
would never
address.
buy an Audi. Why? Because I know programmers and QA people.
It's scary.
So what's the option? Pull the plug, or is there a fix from a security standpoint, or it is what it is?
I think they've got to make it harder. I know there are smart people working on this, but it scares me when you start thinking about driverless cars, you start thinking about more autonomous vehicles. And
Maximum Overdrive is coming true. I'm just saying right now, the old Stephen King movie with AC/DC. All the cars are coming to life, and they're gonna lock us up in a diner, in a gas station diner, and they're gonna kill all of us.
Well, and Tesla learned it. Tesla, decided they were going to go with the model of, all their software and firmware updates were going to be, over a Wi-Fi connection in the car.
And they pushed those weekly, right?
Well, they did until the very first one went out, and oh, by the way, guess what? It got intercepted by a man-in-the-middle attack, and all the cars got hacked. Oops. Back to the drawing board, figure that out. So it's not just Chrysler. It's already known that there are issues out there, and it is. It's the convenience versus security aspect. The only truly safe computer is one that's unplugged. That's all there is to it, and your car is no different.
Better not take them Pandoras off my car. I'll kill you. It's getting to that point. I mean, that was the thing when we had Elena Farnsworth on from Mobile Complaint talking about the connected vehicle, right? And she wants to take my classic to update it with modern diagnostics.
Put a Trojan horse in it.
Right. Well, then there was another. I don't mean to segue out into another story. We can come back, but like now they're talking about like there's drones that are equipped with malware doing Wi-Fi hacks that are commissioned by Boeing to drop malware into open Wi-Fi networks as they're cruising down the street. I mean, again, it's getting a little nutty on with the security thing. The average Joe doesn't know this crap. I don't know this crap, and I'm in the damn industry.
No, when we talked about this with the security guys at Converge, I mean, what I do, I freely admit, I still have a standard document that every now and then I scan. I may or may not have a Comcast connection, and I may or may not scan the network around me, and I may or may not find open connected printers that aren't protected by security.
And then do you print red rum to them?
I may or may not send a document that says if you don't, send an email to this email address, yet promising to get smarter about internet security, I'm going to print out your internet history when your wife's home alone. I may or may not do that.
You're my hero.
No doubt. You send pictures of goats, you admit it. You're that
Is that a wedding ring? That's a wedding ring.
You're that guy. So, I mean, Dan, at the end of the day, I mean, what can, if someone's a novice or even if someone like me that's in the, I don't know what the heck to do. I mean, am I going to do what Chrysler tells me to do and just hold my breath that everything's going to be all right?
I mean, I think, some of the advice I've heard that I think is probably the best at the moment is go ahead and bring the car into Chrysler. At least you're getting the right patch. And as someone said, you've got an audit trail that they're responsible, and it is a Chrysler recall out there, 1.4 million vehicles. You can bring your car into Chrysler, and they will, schedule the service, and they will update software. So I think that's probably the way to go. Is that the long-term answer? Probably
this
not.
Is shit house, right? If they're having to do that every 3 weeks, they're going to have to. It's like Patch Wednesday for your Chrysler.
But if you're asking for legally supportable device, advice that you can give that's going to protect someone if something really bad happens, that's what I would advise them to do. I mean, I don't know.
Dave brought up a good point. Like like his father-in-law or someone like my dad. My dad doesn't even know how to put on a Sirius satellite that's free, let alone, I got to patch the what, the where, you know what I mean? Even though he goes on their internets, he doesn't, this is complete foreign. So again, it's going to have to get the
They're going to have to do some kind of auto update at some point, otherwise they're going to be.
Yeah, it's going to change. The method of updating this is going to absolutely change, and I think everyone knew this was an issue. I didn't think they realized it was an issue now, and I think the challenge you've got currently is all the automakers in Detroit, all over the world, are like number one top priority. This is it. This is a safety issue, and this is a big issue, and so absolutely, this is huge, and it's top of the agenda right now. A lot of people scrambling.
See, and I buy that. Okay, so and I'm totally going to segue here because we're stealing all your thunder for your segment. But this is the part that concerns me because you have people on the internet like the wonderful Twitter user down in Palm Beach County. Who decided that she would send out a tweet to her drug dealer that she was ready to buy some weed. And the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department replied to both of them and said, "Fantastic, where should we meet you at?" She responded with the location of where they were going to meet at, and they showed up and promptly arrested them both.
People are so stupid.
But guess what? They had cars. They drove to the meeting spot. Those are the people that you're relying on to patch their own vehicles. That's my point. That's who we have out there in the wild.
So the FBI followed me on Twitter last week. Should I be careful?
Oh boy, dude! Welcome to the club. You're just on our watch list now.
You wonder how. You wonder if there was like in the big three, there was like that VM nerd or like that security nerd that's like a network admin, and he kept having his hand raised for like the last year and a half, going, guys."
Right? Did anyone look at the? I believe I wrote a paper.
Exactly. Guys,
shut up, Dilbert. Go back to the corner.
And the executive's like, "No, we got to get this Pandora shit out. It's got to get out. It's got to launch." But guys,
we've got a date. But hey, but on the security front, we've talked about this a couple times now. So the AshleyMadison.com hack, 37 million accounts. People were really, really concerned.
You all right?
Ashley, I'm good. Ashley and Madison, their parent company released a statement and said you don't have anything to worry about.
All is well.
If your account was compromised.
Oh, good.
Remain calm.
Because they're issuing DMCA takedown requests to sites that post it.
Oh, so that will keep me safe.
It's brilliant. Genius.
So for those who don't know, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, it was came about in the early 2000s, and it's this yes, you should take down infringing material if you've posted infringing material for copyright reasons and all that kind of stuff. But when you're posting a file containing hacked user IDs and passwords and credit card information, I'm fairly certain you really don't give a rat's ass or even have a valid address available for someone to send a DMCA to, let alone respond appropriately to it if you get one.
So will a DMCA also protect me if LifeLock has screwed the pooch and somehow let all my information out?
Which they did.
Oh.
Nice
segue.
Because love those commercials, which are almost as good as because the guy behind that was just either a mad evil genius or just the dumbest bastard on the planet, where he would just post his social security number.
I think that's cocky. It's
in
a
their
cocky
commercials.
trick is what that is.
Yeah, exactly. Don't live your life in fear, but on the other hand, don't juggle with knives.
Right.
There's no need. LifeLock is having a bad week as well.
So basically, was it the SEC or the Federal Trade Commission said that their security was laughable? Or I'm trying to think of the quote. It was
exactly.
It's a gigantic freaking joke.
I never I'll get the stuff when I need to get the stuff. That was one product I never needed to get.
Bob, if there was anybody who should have gotten LifeLock, it would be the guy who got 10 replacement debit cards in a single year because his card kept getting compromised.
But I never got my identity stolen. They never opened up new accounts. It never got to that point. It was like someone charged $3 at a gas station in Zimbabwe. You want to? Yeah, I want to cancel.
Yeah.
I never went past that, so I didn't really care. If someone said, "Hey, they bought a car in your name," we're like, "Holy shit, I'm buying LifeLock." Never got there.
The thing with LifeLock though is they said that it would not prevent someone from opening a new account in your name.
Right.
So what's the thing? And then I read something else that said the average price of a stolen identity is $21 on the internet.
Right.
In the black market. $21 will buy you someone's identity.
Yep.
Because they know it's gone in not even 12 hours.
2 credit card transactions the most, and it's gone.
Right.
So you can lock your credit, and that will prevent people from doing that. If you want to, if listeners want to lock their credit, they can.
But then there's your security versus convenience.
I get it.
Where again you
new credit cards
you
and all
forget
that.
and you go and you go to buy a car or you want to open up a store credit
Correct.
or you go to and then it's crap, everything's locked down, let me make a phone call and I got to do this and I got this validation code and where'd I put that piece of paper that had that pin on it that. So you can, but again, security versus convenience.
And I would agree, and I'd also say that with the LifeLock thing, almost all of us, in my experience, there's always somebody who is giving me free credit protection. So I'm literally almost annually. And with the OPM breach, the Office of Personnel Management in Washington, that's 8% of the U.S. population.
Oh, yeah, I'm in that.
Me too. And anybody that's had a clearance, and that's 8%.
Clearance.
And so that.
Yeah, what's the clearance?
I mean, what that tells you is there's a lot of people there. They're going to be getting free credit protection. Now this year they just came out and said 10 years probably.
Yeah.
Wow. So, so that's...
and you think that, and I'll be honest with you, that's the one that really kind of freaked me out.
Yep.
Because, when you're talking about the OPM, number one, let's just focus on the fact that the agency in charge of making sure that there are no security leaks in any other government agency got breached.
Yep.
Then, you look at the caliber of data that they pull out of there, that's you, your whole life,
your family,
all of your family,
yep.
Contacts, friend. Dude, they went back to my 8th grade science teacher.
Wow.
And asked stuff about me for some of my clearances. So that's got.
What kind of drugs you did when you were 14? Your sexual deviancies?
I just disclosed everything. I have like a 19-page Word doc on my laptop that whenever that stuff comes, I'm like, here, read. If you have any questions,
I'm your father's brother's sister.
Yeah, exactly.
Great teacher.
Here's my Ashley Madison account.
Absolutely nothing.
It is scary. Absolutely. I mean, and that is a boatload of information.
We'll come back though.
But I do. I love all the. I just touched on it. Like I love all the outrage. That was spawning all over the internet from the Ashley Madison hack. Where I feel really bad for all the people who had opened an account on a website to cheat on their spouse. That their information wasn't as secure as they thought it was. It must be a real breach of trust that they're suffering from right now.
Welcome to the real world.
But sanctity of marriage and stuff.
Oh yeah, everybody's worried about same-sex couples ruining the sanctity of marriage, and yet there were 37 million accounts on AshleyMadison.com. Go ahead and let that sink in.
13% of the population. Yeah. I don't even think half has internet access, so you're talking like a quarter. Oh my God. Does the fun ever start?
But because logic. So,
right. Well, the Bible doesn't say shit about using the internet to cheat on your wife. So
the document from 2,000 years ago has nothing about you.
No, exactly. So then it's good. It doesn't say nothing about internet. I can do whatever I want.
Well, but it does have that catch-all about thou shalt not commit adultery. I mean, that is kind of a catch-all, regardless of means or method.
It was because of the internet.
Oh, so you rationalize it?
Exactly. Gotcha. So, do we talk about our favorite 6'8" golden blonde wrestler, Mr. Hogan, yet?
Yeah, brother. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I believe I have the theory that explains all of this. I truly, truly do.
Well, Reddit, I sent you the thing. Reddit posted the timeline of how everything transpired. Go ahead and start, and I'll fill in what I remember.
So for those who don't know, there was audio tapes that were leaked of
Hulk Hogan 8 years ago
of Hulk Hogan going on an N-word laden rant about a guy that his daughter was dating at the time. And so, the stories broke, and it was one of those things where, like, why is this happening now? Like, Hulk's not really active with the WWE. He's
not tough enough. He's not
but not huge. He's not. The whole TNA thing didn't work out. So, like, what's going on? And then, like out of nowhere, it just totally clicked with me. So, Hulk Hogan is suing Gawker Media for $100 million over the release of the sex tape with Bubba the Love Sponge's wife.
Well, do you know how? Yeah, because him and Bubba had a falling out.
And that's how the tape got released.
Right.
Because he went to Gawker with it. And so these conversations were part of that whole set of interactions. And so, so then it's Chris Rock in Rush Hour 2. Follow the rich white man if you want to find this. If you want to solve the crime. So where's the rich white man in this equation?
You're like the only one that ever watched that movie.
I love that movie.
I thought it was English. Do you speak it, or is that the?
No, that was the first one.
That was the first one.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? But no. So suing Gawker Media for $100 million for the release of the sex tape. Who had a really, really bad week last week? Gawker Media. Why? Because they posted an article on 2 Thursdays ago, basically outing the CFO of Condé Nast for a relationship exchange that went down with a gay male escort. That basically the guy wanted, the escort wanted something more. CFO said no, paid him for his services, didn't show up, and said, "Look, this is better if we just don't do this. Whatever." Gay escort goes to Gawker with all of the email chains and conversations and everything. Gawker publishes this story. Gawker takes immense heat from their advertisers and everybody else, and decides on Friday they're going to pull the story. Well, their editors resign along with several of their writers because that's just not editorially cool to pull stories because advertisers, put pressure on you. So that goes on. Then all of a sudden, this Hulk thing leaks. Well, so Hulk's suing Gawker because of the sex tape. This audio is part of the sex tape timeline, and in those,
Bubba had
those
apparently
recordings,
3 DVDs full of crap.
Right. So Gawker having a bad week, who would have access to those tapes? Gawker's attorneys, and I'll phrase this all with hypothetically speaking, and I'm just conjecturing. But so Gawker's attorneys would have access to those recordings under the context of disclosure for the lawsuit, wherein Gawker's attorneys would have conversations with their clients from Gawker. And Gawker probably wouldn't mind throwing somebody like Hulk that, is suing them under the bus for being a racist because, at some point in time, they're going to stand up in front of a jury and say, well, you don't want to give $100 million to a racist, do you? Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. So that's my Law and Order chung chung moment.
I'm convinced Dave could pass the bar right now because of all the Law and Order he's watched. I swear to God, I've never seriously.
In the world of networking, there are two separate yet equal groups.
He says wherein and whereas and
exactly heretofore and henceforth, henceforth, yes.
Habeas corpus and all that good stuff.
Ergo.
So,
ipsum sit.
On that note, we're going to hit a quick break.
It is that time, isn't it?
It is that time. We're going to come back. Like I said, we're very lucky to be joined by Dan Lorman.
Anyway, the moral of the story is, Hulk, we're not saying we're 100% behind you because you still went off on a racist tirade. But, dude, you went off on a racist tirade behind closed doors with friends. And, everybody says crap with their boys that not really probably shouldn't hit the public airwaves. Yeah, and it's from 8 years ago, and you've probably grown up a little bit since then. But yeah, Gawker, kind of putting this one on you, Skippy. Hypothetically speaking, and conjecture.
But yeah, we'll be back. Segment 2. Dan Lorman, Chief Security Officer for Security Mentor. We're going to dive more into the Chrysler stuff and a whole lot more. This is the IT and the D Show, and we will be right back.
This show is broadcasting live from Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming and is part of the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Hey guys, it's Time Hawk, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the IT&D Show.
Online Tech is the Midwest leader in secure, compliant, enterprise cloud and colocation hosting services. The company's network of 5 data centers protect mission-critical applications to ensure they are always available, secure, and comply with government and industry regulations. Backed by independent HIPAA, PCI, SOC 2, and Safe Harbor audits, Online Tech delivers exceptional experiences for companies in need of a strategic hosting partner. For more information, call 877-740-5028. Email contactus@onlinetech.com or visit www.onlinetech.com.
Drums, please. This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
And welcome back. This is segment 2 of episode 102, the July 27th edition of the IT in the D Show. We are hanging out in the Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming in beautiful Ferndale, Michigan. As always, this is Bob the Sales Guy here with Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG. Find us online, itinthed.com, because we are IT in the D and you just
are not, never will be. Give it up, go away.
All right.
Maybe next time.
We segment 2 is brought to you by Pure Storage. Find them online, purestorage.com. Flash Array, changing the whole world of enterprise storage. Nuri can attest to that. They're hiring away half of our good people, and we are happy to have them on board.
They make the sexiest little boxes that do amazing things for half the size that the competitors do.
Okay, you're not allowed to come back from your Asian field trip talking about sexy little boxes. So, one thing we did not talk about, sitting here in the studio, this has been a rather interesting week for us. So I know we can't get into all of it, but the moral of the story is, well, we launched a network last week. And so we had our new studio here, and it was cool. We've got our own studio, and we're doing our thing. And then people started showing up, going, "Hey, I'd like to do a show, and you guys have a studio, and you guys are sucking less. Can I do a show there?" Sure, why not? And then one thing led to another, and now podcastdetroit.com is live, and it's / Podcast Detroit on Facebook, at Podcast Detroit on Twitter, and it's live. And so we've got a couple of shows that have already gone live last week on Tuesday and Wednesday. We've got a few more coming up from basically our friends and family, and not family, but friends and network that have decided they want to do shows. And after probably in the next couple days, you're going to be hearing, reading, seeing a rather fun announcement about some stuff that Bob and I just locked down in a meeting on Saturday. I wish we could get into right now, but we will absolutely get into it next week. But in the meantime, so podcastdetroit.com, you heard it, before the break, during the break. You'll hear it during the breaks. That's our new home. That's our new thing. We're still IT in the D, always was. was not always, but for the past couple years, we've been IT in the D. Show's still going to be here. We'll still be doing our blogs and all that fun stuff at itinthed.com. All the events will still be IT in the D events, but on top of all that, we've also got the Podcast Detroit Network, and we'll be doing fun stuff there as well.
Sounds amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah, exactly, because we have more things that we need to do to make sure that we have no free time at all, ever, whatsoever.
But speaking of segment 2, we are actually, you know what? I'm going to throw it out there. We're privileged and honored to have you here.
Too kind.
I was at an event, and Dan was the guest speaker, and I said, hey, how'd you like to be on the podcast? And he didn't say yes right away. No, I'm just kidding. He did. But we actually, Dan Lorman's here. Right now, he's the Chief Security Officer for Security Mentor, and formerly, you were the CSO for the state of Michigan. I can't imagine what that entailed. But, Dan, we appreciate you making the drive down here and sitting in the studio with us.
It's great to be with you guys. Thanks so much.
So, I mean, as a Chief Security Officer, is it in line with what it would like a CIO? Like you're in the weeds, but you're not. You're more on the business side of things, or you don't see too many companies with CSOs yet. Is this?
Yeah, I'm also dual titled chief strategist as well.
Okay.
So we're a company that actually our tagline is security training employees love to take. So we do awareness training for large enterprises, small enterprises, businesses all around the world. And it's fun, gamification and really making interactive, engaging. And I get the chance to really be an evangelist with that, get involved in a lot of different situations, helping enterprises with their security program, and also really being able to speak around the world. So it's been a real fun ride in the last 12 months.
Oh, I bet. I mean, me and Dave had a ball, and it was very eye-opening when we were doing the podcast at Converge. We had a couple quote-unquote hackers.
Well, it was eye-opening for you.
For me. Well,
those are my people.
Right. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I told them, and I think I told you earlier, like most people think of hacking as swordfish. The guy behind the monitor going clickety
with techno music playing in the background.
Right. Drinking Red Bull and
does the chief security officer ride around on a skateboard wearing a long coat, a la Hackers the movie, or no? No, that's not.
Are you referred to as Mr. the Plague?
Mr. the Plague, sir.
No, but the majority of the stuff that goes on is what they called soft skills, because you can't say.
Well, it's the physical penetration testing. Yeah,
exactly.
Right, which is Dave's favorite. But I mean, from your standpoint, what's taking the majority of your time these days? Is it teaching the soft skills and people walking into the building, getting unauthorized access, or is it both?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly it is both. I think the soft skills, the people learning what are the ways that they're tricked online. There's a lot of fraud online. There's a lot of ways, whether it's clicking on links, whether it's different websites, different things you need to be aware of. What are the threats out there? So we do look at the end user. And really, people have connectivity, as we've just been talking about, whether it's a smartphone, whether it's computer at work, laptops, losing devices, so it's really the whole gamut of ways that threats can attack employees and people can get access into the enterprise. Lots of examples I can give you.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking to one of the guys that was there, and he puts on a hard hat, grabs a briefcase, walks through the building, starts yelling at people. And walks into the data center and just starts plugging in.
Yep.
And nobody questions him because he looks legit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, clearly, phishing, spear phishing is a huge issue. I mean, that's out there a lot. Not just the traditional emails, but you also have you can be phished via phone calls. I mean, I got a phone call a couple weeks ago. Literally, it was like my family had won a free cruise, and it was the whole thing was I'm going along. I was like, do you like sun? Yes. Do you like warm? Do you like fun? Of course, yes. All this, and then it's like 10 minutes in, I'm just playing along because I wanted to see where this was going to go. He needs $149 for each member of my family for processing fees, right? So, and of course, the whole thing's a scam.
Dude, and I was so mad. Like, Bob, God love the man, but he doesn't have the record phone call app on his phone. Like, none of them. He's gotten the fake tech support call not once, twice now.
Yeah?
From there are errors with your PC, and we need to have you.
Sending out viruses.
Oh yeah, people fall for that all the time.
No, but what I did was instead of I told them I went through the steps, and a pop up came up, and I read 3 very dirty words to them, and then they start yelling at you back there, which is the fight because I started. The last one I did was I read was it find or scanmypc.com? I looked at the Google and it said findmypc.com scam. Oh my, are you scamming me? Then they start, but yeah, it's amazing. Like the catch rate for those has to be high. Otherwise they wouldn't keep making these phone calls.
Absolutely.
Weird if the catch rate is low times 1 million people or times 100 million people.
Right. But and again, you need 0.1% to fall for it. To build your bot.
It's like the guy with the popped collar at the bar, right? If he does the same pickup routine to 100 girls.
It's Damone 101, man. You put the vibe out to like 1,000 girls. You only need one to say yeah.
If you think of this from a hacker's perspective, if you got to try and hack through a whole series of firewalls and code and everything else, if you can get the credentials of employees who have that access, get them to click on a link. I mean, that's reportedly what happened with OPM. If you can get, I could give you just literally dozens of examples of major corporations. The first step, it's a multi-step process, is get the credentials of key individuals, whether it be system administrators, people who are trusted insiders. If you can get those credentials, then you've got the keys to the kingdom, right? So,
and I'm not going to lie. I mean, like simple, like dumb example. So I was at a rather large company in the area back in 1988, 1999, and built their intranet. And had the admin user IDs, passwords, all that stuff.
Yep.
I did my third tour of duty there around circa 2005. And just for giggles, I'm like, you know what? It's been, 7, 8, 9 years. Wonder if it still works. Sure as hell, same user ID, same password, same root access to everything.
Yep. I mean, blocking and tackling, entering and exiting employees, having the right processes. It sounds so simple. But, I mean, that's where a large percentage of breaches happen. I mean, it starts there. It's not a one-step thing. It's a multi-step process. So how do you get there? How do you stop that? How do you train people? How do you make them aware? The other thing is, and I think Security Mentor is good at, is really helping people see how this affects their home life, their work life. It's ubiquitous anymore. 7/24, 365. People are connected on vacation. They have emails. They have home accounts. And saying, how can you help people understand how this affects your home life, your work life, your family, your kids, and if you can really make it interesting and intriguing and brief, frequent, and focused, really make it something that they enjoy, it really changes the conversation with the security team. And I think we've seen that, we've seen it with the state of Michigan, we've seen it with a lot of state governments, a lot of Fortune 500 companies all over the world. I mean, really, how do you change the conversation so you're enabling and not just disabling? Because security people are always known as the ones who are saying no. They're saying stop, don't do this, don't touch that, don't go over there. And so really helping them say, okay, enable me, show me how I can make this a positive conversation and not a negative conversation.
Well, sure. And I mean, it's probably no secret that your best friend these days is the advent of Internet of Things.
Yep.
I mean, the one reason I wanted to buy a Nest because it's a cool new toy.
Sure.
If I don't hear Dave's voice screaming about me opening up, basically a wormhole into my house.
Oh, that was the first thing I said when you were like, "Oh, I'm going to get an S." I'm like, "Welcome to the giant gaping security hole into your house."
But I love setting my temperature from the room right now.
Exactly. I don't have to get up to set my temperature.
I did that from bed the other night. I'm like, I'm hot. Doot, doot, doot. That's the pinnacle.
But I mean,
of
what's Internet of Things done to change, I guess, your outlook or the way you go about things?
I mean, the joke is in the industry, the Internet of Insecure Things. And I mean, there's so many, the backdoors. We talked about Chrysler, and I think I worry actually less about the big car companies and that, honestly, it's backdoors. The question is, are these Internet of Things going to be connected to your home Wi-Fi? Are they, do you create backdoors into other places? What if malware was spread through one of those trusted devices? So people, I think the challenge right now is really helping people understand and get, again, an awareness of that, identity around the Internet of Things. How do you put security in up front with these devices? Little robots going to be showing up under your Christmas tree next, and it's going to be connected to Wi-Fi, and it's going to do cool little things, and it's going to be $39.95, and everyone's going to have it, or whatever it might be. Is that a backdoor into your home network?
That's the crazy thing because, like, if you have your PC or your laptop, everyone has adware or some sort of a malware scan.
Yep.
When you have these devices, you don't know, like, you know, the Xbox, how much crap I have connected
or
to the
your
internet
smart
at home.
TV.
Right. You don't know what if it's got malware now because there's no way to check.
Or Alexa, right? I mean,
Right. I have
the Echo, yeah.
I have a what's the damn thing from Microsoft called staring at me, and I have an Alexa. So I mean, the conspiracy theorist in all of us is the government's listening to everything in my house 24/7, which is great because they can hear me yelling for my wife to bring me Funyuns while I'm playing Xbox. Like, what are you going to listen for?
Ma, meatloaf.
Right, but the fact of the matter, the Microsoft I have a Connect, which has got video live. My kid walks through the room and the thing pops up, "Hi, Gretchen," and she freaks out. It's like, how does it know it's me? I'm like, it's all knowing.
I have scanned your body and know your mass.
It's the eye of Sauron. But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you're security conscious, that's not. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence because I don't keep that much crap on my computer. But for the security conscious person, it's got to drive them absolutely nuts.
Absolutely. And I think the first thing you need to think about if you're buying any device that's connecting into any network is, are you even enabling at a basic step the security things that are available on that device? So many people use the default out of the box, default passwords, default, and they're not even necessarily, maybe there is a secure mode or a password mode or, there's a variety of different features that are security features. And I tell you, the majority of the population doesn't even enable what they've got. So, I mean, first step is make sure you even know what you're buying, educate yourself, and then enable those security features that are with the box. But unfortunately, it's often version 2 or version 3.
Right.
They talk about security. Version 1 doesn't have it.
Well, and that's always the problem is that, it's, by default, things tend to ship open. Because, I mean, it gets back to Internet 101. I mean, the reason why we have all these issues is because TCP/IP was designed to be an open protocol. The Internet, at its foundation was academics.
Port 80, yeah.
Well, no, I mean, it was academics that were looking to share papers. They weren't looking down the road where they had, they didn't know e-commerce sites and porn sites and billing and credit. I mean, it was university to university and a couple of companies sharing information back and forth. So it was designed to be open and trusting. And unfortunately, that, if your personality is open and trusting, it doesn't always work out for you. And it's the exact same thing when it comes to technology.
I totally agree. And it is a challenge and a tug of war between ease of use and security so often. And I think that is a paradigm that, unfortunately, we think we get it right, and then we hear about, as just announced today, big holes in Android. You get more and more and more problems that are continuing to come out. So
Observer Mike on Twitter is telling you to don't fear new tech. Resistance is futile. Just letting you know.
Okay, well, I will say that we don't.
I just sent him a note back. We'll fear it as much as we damn want.
I will say that one of the things that is kind of a mantra of mine, and I've learned kind of the hard way, and I can tell you guys some stories, but way back when I was CSO for the state, I was initially the guy against Wi-Fi. I was going to, it was me against the,
That was the best story you told at that event. Yeah, you got to go into that.
Well, it's a true story, and then, I was going to fight it, and I absolutely had all the white papers. I had all the backup from NSA, CIA, DIA, all of them, and FBI saying, not secure, don't do this, bad. War driving was all the stories, people hacking in the cash registers in parking lots, and it was a scary time 10 years ago. So, but I learned, the hard way. I almost lost my job. Terry Takai at the time was the CIO. I'll tell you real quickly. She said she went on to become CIO at DOD, and she's now at Meridian Health here in Detroit. And what happened was we had a meeting around this, and I was the guy that was going to say no, no, no. She said, everybody else leave the room. I'm going to talk to Dan about this. And she said, Dan, I've been at Ford, Chrysler, Dow, and GM. They've all got Wi-Fi in their conference rooms. What do they know that you don't know? You need to come back to me in a week with a secure solution. So, I do think from an enabling perspective, security pros, their first answer is no, and then then you say, what is the question, So you've got to think about having enabling solutions is what I'm trying to get at. Is there a way you can secure it? Is there a way you can enable it? we've come a long way with Wi-Fi, obviously, than where we were 10 years ago. So
Right.
I do think you can't just.
Well, yeah, you
always-
can lock it down, and that's and then again, then you've got that trade-off. You can lock your Wi-Fi down to MAC addresses. You can lock your Wi-Fi down to certain computers, certain devices, certain Then you've got Sergio who walks into Chrysler day one and says, "Here's my iPhone, make it work."
Yep.
And that's how Chrysler and BYOD.
I mean, that's reality 101. I mean, there's only you can only be that guy, that sits there in the room going, "Hey, I'm just telling you that there's a problem here for so long," and you're going to get trumped.
Absolutely. And so I learned that was a aha moment for me in my career was you need to start thinking about whatever the topic is, how do you do, secure cloud.
And what's the mitigation?
Secure mobile.
What's the acceptable risk? And the go-to that I always have is possibility versus probability.
Absolutely.
Like I got into a raging debate with people who wanted to give me crap because our data centers I located in Chicago and Los Angeles. And they're like, well, why'd you pick those? And I'm like, well, they're on different, different fault lines, different electrical grids. Remember when the East Coast went down? It started in Chicago, so L.A. will still be fine. This. They're like, well, what if they both get taken out? I'm like, okay, is it possible that both Chicago and L.A. can get taken out by, say, tactical nukes? Yes, it is absolutely possible. Is it probable? No. And in the reality of that situation is that if Chicago and L.A. get taken out by tactical nukes, we have much bigger issues than whether or not somebody is processing a car payment.
The smoky hole scenario, totally.
Well, and I think that's exactly right. So you need to know what your risks are, know the threats, and then you as a security pro, if you're a CISO, if you're a CSO, if you're a security lead, you have got to. That's your life, man.
Yeah,
I mean, that's your day. Is a stack of those. Is like how can we secure XYZ system? How can we do this? It's a hard battle.
Well, we always say it's based on your level of paranoia, right? I mean, where do you draw the line?
Absolutely. I mean, and there's no one answer, one size fits all. I mean, so like I said, that story I learned. The moral of the story for me was, you can't just be Dr. No. You can't.
Well, but you also and this is the net effect of the so there was a conversation on our Facebook wall about the whole the Chrysler hack and the wireless connectivity and all that stuff. And there's a friend of ours who was just adamant that it wasn't a big deal, that it was just fear-mongering, that it was You can't also be an ostrich about that stuff because you can't turn a blind eye, and that's the fun. Like on our wall, we had guys from like Duo Security and other like known reputable sources that were going, nah, dude, here's why this is a problem, and still blowing it off. And I mean, you can't turn a blind eye to it either. Like, and it is that balance between abject, lock myself in my room in a fetal ball rocking in the corner paranoia and I'm never going to lock my house again. There's got to be that balance.
It does. And a lot of people have lost their jobs in the last 12 months because they were turning a blind eye. I would just say, the one thing I would say that we need to really think about in this whole space, and I'll just a little plug here for Secure World in a couple weeks in September. I'm actually going to do an all-day seminar on this topic of how do you build an enterprise security awareness program. The idea is this: how do you find a needle in the haystack? You get the haystack working for you. Right. So what that means is you get all the employees. If you've got 10,000 employees, if you've got 5,000 employees, and Dan's going to run around with his gun trying to secure the place, it's not going to work, right? But if I can get those 5,000 employees or 4,999 to report that one insider threat, okay? Right. If I can get the majority on your side, it's going to be a much more effective security posture.
Absolutely.
So how do you build that? How do you build the awareness? How do you get the employees working with you and not against you? That you don't want them just terrified every time security calls. I mean, you want to
what I do?
Exactly. I mean, you want to be able to have a relationship in a positive way. It's like, enable people so they're actually going to be on your side and your team. And that's really what that whole day seminar is going to be about, is how do you build that? How do you do it for end users? How do you do it with management? How do you get the buy-in? How do you understand the risk? All those steps. And it's not just about end user, CBT. It could be live. It could be posters. It could be a variety of different pieces that come together, that really need to come together to build that enterprise awareness program.
Interesting. So where's that going to be at?
That's going to be actually in the Ford Conference Center in Detroit.
Okay.
Secure World Detroit, second week of September.
Okay.
And Secure World, and many people, listeners probably know, it comes around every year. I think it's been around for 10 or 11 years now. Great program. I've been part of that for really almost since the beginning. I think the first one back when I was a CISO for the state. So it's a great program. It's a 2-day program. I think it's September 13th, but I don't know the exact date.
Yeah, we'll dig it up and get the dates out there.
SecureWorldExpo.com is what that is. But yeah, I mean, the point I'm trying to get at is it really is, you do need to think about the risks, but you also need, as you said, to not just shut everything down. So it is that balance. It's a constant trade-off.
So how do we find you at GovCSO?
At GovCSO, absolutely. That's my Twitter handle, and also Secure World at Secure World. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Secure World. I'm thinking of the Secure World. At Security Mentor. At Security Mentor. Is also a Twitter site.
SecurityMentor.com as well?
Correct. SecurityMentor.com is our website, yeah.
Awesome. Dan, seriously, great conversation. We probably could have had you here for the whole, talking this for the whole 2 hours.
We'll dive back more. We have, this is why we have a fourth segment.
No, absolutely. But we're going to dive back in segment 3 with Michelle Gilbert, the VP of PR for Comcast. Should it be another fun discussion? This is the IT and the D Show, and we'll be right back.
This show is broadcasting live from Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming and is part of the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D Show.
If you're a reseller of IT solutions, the original equipment manufacturer should not be your strongest competitor. At Quantum, we understand the true meaning of partnership. We work with our channel to deliver industry-leading solutions together, all the time, not just when it's convenient for us. Heck, we don't even have a direct sales force. Quantum is looking for a few good partners. Call 586-745-4DXI to get started. That's 586-745-4394.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
And welcome back, segment 3, episode 102, the July 27th edition. This is the IT in the D Show. We are hanging out in the Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming in beautiful Ferndale, Michigan. Again, this is Bob the Sales Guy, always here with Dave the Geek, Nuri the BOM. Find us online, itandthed.com. Give us a like on Facebook /ITandTheD. Give us a follow on the Twitters, #ITandTheD. And you know what? If you have the Google Play, I know most of our people are on iOS, but if on Google, if you want to download our app, there's a giant play button. Just go to the Google Play Store, type in IT and the D, no spaces, and there's a cool little app with one giant button, which is kind of like the Bob button because it's so easy, even I could do it. And we are proud to be part of the inaugural Podcast Detroit network that is currently being launched.
That we started?
Yeah. Do we have to say that? I guess we do. That's fine. But yeah, it's podcastdetroit.com. We're going to start, we just had 2 or 3 shows launch, and we're going to be introducing probably 2 or 3 more shows a week for until Dave's head explodes. So I'm looking forward to that immensely. So what in the world?
And we're not that far away.
No, we're not. But again, we got an awesome guest lineup today. We have Michelle Gilbert here, who's the VP of PR for Comcast in the Heartland region.
Heartland region.
Good. That's
Michigan, Indiana, and a small piece of Kentucky.
So the old Robin Williams joke, they call it the Heartland because the brain isn't there.
So basically, if you want to be vice president of PR for Comcast, is you have a masochist sense in you, or is it just like you wanted to fix the world? Because
well, she walked in Kevlar,
right? So. Please don't hurt me, sir.
I'm just up for a good challenge.
No, but here's, I'll give you an example of what I probably it feels like to be you. I worked for Hewlett Packard for 7-8 years of my life, and everyone I said, who do you work for? Oh, I'm an HP guy. He goes, I hate your printers. And it made me cringe. It's like, that's such a, I'm not even in that division, right? So like anyone that has a remotely, like my internet didn't work last week and they take it out on you.
Right.
I mean, how much crap do you get from just saying that's what you do for a living?
Most people don't. But I've been in the tech industry for a while. Before this, I worked for a wireless company, and I remember I was taking my kindergartner to the school for the first time, and I was introduced to another parent, and she said, I hate your company. And that was when I worked for the most popular wireless provider. So I think it just follows me around.
Thanks.
Right. Yeah. It's really good to meet you, too.
No, isn't it amazing, though, how much hatred people have for... at the end of the day,
they hold a grudge.
Yeah, it's pretty much everybody's pretty much the same when you talk about delivering internet or wireless to your house or to your phone. It's all pretty much ran the same, but there's this hatred. It's insane.
Right. Well, and there's a lot of different reasons that there's hate. And when you talk about, oh, I hate your service, I'm so mad my internet doesn't work in my house, what most people don't realize is that most of the time the internet's not working the way they want in their house, and it has something to do with what they're doing or not doing in their house, or they haven't updated their modem, so it's not taking the new speeds. And then there's the whole customer service issue, which clearly in our industry needs to be fixed, and there's a lot of things that Comcast is doing to fix it.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. Like if there's truly something wrong in the house that I haven't figured, like that I can't get past, when I call the number, the poor bastard that answers the phone, the first thing I do is I'm like, okay, look, I get it. Your level one help desk. Here's what I've already done. I've already unplugged everything. Yes, I've waited, 5 to 10 minutes. Yes, I plugged it back in. Yes, I did this. Yes, I've done that. And I run down the checklist that I know they're going to ask me.
Right.
And I'm like,
they ask you again.
And I'm like, so please just check if there's an outage in my area, and if not, go ahead and bump me over to level 2, and we'll go from there.
So let me tell you what you can do to determine whether there's an outage to save yourself that hassle. Download to your phone the Xfinity My Account app. It will tell you. You have to log in once, and then you'll auto-log in every time you go to it. You can figure out whether there is, in fact, an outage in your area.
Okay.
You can also do some minor troubleshooting on your own, which for someone like you may not necessarily need the app to do that, but for someone like me who isn't tech savvy, it's great because it takes me through a series of questions to determine what might be wrong.
Is it plugged in? Right. Are the lights blinking?
Exactly. Well, I have a funny story. I once tried to charge a wireless phone and I forgot to put the battery in, so that just goes to show you. That's why I'm in PR and not IT.
It's okay. I have a friend of mine who was called me over to her desk. It was somebody I worked with, and she was baffled as to why her computer wasn't turning on and all that fun happy hoo-ha. And I did I looked at everything and I'm trying to figure it out, and then I finally looked underneath her desk, and she had plugged the power strip into itself as opposed to the wall.
It's like a perpetual electricity machine.
Right. That's
And as they sit there going, I hate Comcast. But it's,
Right, exactly.
But you can't tell them it's a PEBCAC error, right? If you know what that is. Problem exists between chair and keyboard. Or, it's you. It's not us. Right?
We have ways of, in a very polite, asking them, did you do this? Did you do that? And we've got experts that go into the house when we do need to figure out, and troubleshoot. And they will walk through someone's house and say, okay, do you see how your modem is sitting on this shelf between your microwave
in your closet?
Right.
And your Faraday cage. Oh, you have a Faraday cage. Cool.
This is where you need your modem to sit so that it can broadcast the signal to all points in the house versus just out the window to your neighbors. So, we do try to help our customers. But what I wanted to let you know about that My Account app, the other thing it can do is, so you can do this basic troubleshooting, and if you still need the help because it's not the outage and it's not something that you can fix, you can actually schedule the time that you want someone to call you back. and we will say, hey, we're going to have someone available in 15 minutes. Can they call you back? And then they already have a little bit of a history of why you've called in. So you're not necessarily starting from square one.
You're not getting the...
That might be my new favorite app.
We'll call you between 12 and 5, and they always call you at 5:15.
We'll show up at your house to install this between 12 and 5.
Sometime in August.
Well, and so speaking of when we're going to show up, we actually have a renewed commitment that we want all of our techs to be on time 100% of the time, and there's a $20 credit if they're not on time.
And what's that window? Is it between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. or is it?
No. I think it's 2 hour, right?
Yeah, it's a 2 hour block.
Wow.
It's a 2 hour block.
All right.
And they're flexible. If you say, hey, look, I'm working, but if you can call me within X amount of time, we can call ahead and we can let you know.
We joke about, you're getting a lot of crap. I can't imagine the guys that are doing the installs or the troubleshooting just to get like these angry people at home going, screaming at them about God knows what.
You know what? I had an opportunity to talk to our network VP and our tech ops VP about the frontline employees, and I have so much respect for the work they do. These are entry-level jobs. These people are out there in the 100-degree weather working on the network. They're out there in the below-zero weather working on the network. They're the ones that are being chased up the poles by vicious dogs because someone doesn't know what someone's doing in their yard, even though we called ahead to tell them. These guys work really hard.
Oh, absolutely.
And women.
Right. I mean, I don't want to say it's thankless, but they got to hear the.
We all take it for granted if we're not doing it ourselves.
But I mean, so let's talk about. I mean, we talked offline a little bit about we had Fred here a long time ago talking about Internet Essentials, which I thought was just an absolute amazing program.
I got to break in for a second, just from our Twitter feed, and you've already you've already done your job. We just got a tweet from Observer Mike. This lady makes me not hate Comcast so much.
Okay, so in all fairness, I think Observer Mike is my friend.
Oh, so disclosure.
Disclosure.
Well, I am not, and you're doing good things for me too. I mean, I have WoW for the sole reason because I don't want to have Comcast. I know Comcast, when I had it for a brief time, gave me a better product.
Right.
But I know that when I call WoW, someone answers right away. My tech support person is located in Denver, Colorado, and can handle all of the things he needs to on my call. I feel like that's where Comcast has let me down personally, is the customer service experience. What are you guys doing to prevent my call from being answered by somebody 12 time zones away who is going to walk me through the steps I just told him that I have done?
So we announced earlier this year that we are hiring 5,500 customer service employees who will be based in the United States.
Wow, that's a lot of agents.
It is a lot in the next few years, and we're investing millions of dollars into training our employees so that they're better on the phone and understand our products better and can help you, and that you're not being transferred. Oh, you have a video question? Well, let me transfer you over to them so that they can truly help you. Because if you're a triple play customer and you happen to have a question on video and a question on internet, you don't want to talk to two different people. You want that one-stop shop.
There's nothing worse on anyone, if it's Verizon, I don't care who it is, when you have to get to someone else and you have to repeat all the things again.
Or call drops during transfer.
The one thing that that was kind of the Ritz, and not the one in Warren, because not that one. But the Ritz Hotel is adamant about with their customer service is that when somebody approaches you with a problem, you solve that problem for them.
Right.
Whether it's you are walking them, you don't point. You walk them down you walk them to wherever they need to go. You basically hold their hand through the entire process, and that's part of their commitment. It kind of sounds like that's what you guys are looking to adopt now.
We absolutely are. We're making a lot of changes. We're investing a lot of money into our people and into the technology to make the experience better at all touch points. And look, it's a big ship to turn, and we're making progress every day, and we're giving those positive experiences, but online publications aren't necessarily writing about those positive experiences. They're writing about the embarrassing ones, the moments in time. And so it's going to take a long time. People hold grudges.
Yelp.
We all do. There's
Yelp.
a retailer.
Nobody goes on Yelp to talk about how awesome something is.
Exactly.
7,500 upvotes on a happy story for Comcast doesn't happen.
Right.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
No. And it doesn't happen for other companies too, other service companies, other retailers. That's just the nature of our society and the way we view customer service. us. So, it's going to take a while, but we're committed to turning it around.
Well, that's the one thing I never understood is like, well, I hate them. Why? Because they're the only game in town. It's like, so they're the ones that did the trenching and ran the fiber and dropped all the VRADs that we're doing fiber to the home. I don't know what Comcast, for traditional cable. Yeah. They're the ones putting in the infrastructure. Like, you should be thankful. Somebody did.
Without them, you're back on modem dial-up.
DSL from CenturyLink. Right?
So, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Internet Essentials, but talk a little bit first about the investment in kind of improving the network and kind of making things, because everybody, Netflix now is consuming 40% of all Internet traffic.
Well, and we talked
it's
about
getting crazy.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where AT&T just got slapped with $150 million fine for throttling, their unlimited bandwidth customers, and for what I do. I have Comcast at home. I've never sat there and yelled at it to go faster. Now, granted, I remember when I was signing up with you guys when we were moving, because we talked about this. I had Bright House in Farmington Hills, moved over to East Side. Comcast was it. And when I was doing the whole sign up thing, and she was like, "Oh, well, you can do this and you can do that. And if you don't, you can keep these packages. And then after 3 months, I'm like, no. I'm not the guy that will drop things after 3 months. I'm the guy that's going to call you every month and go, hey, I just read about channels X, Y, and Z, and why don't I have them yet? Get on that."
Or now you're offering 150 meg tier. Why don't you tell me about
why don't
that?
I have that? So, but and they were. It's and that's part of what I think is everybody's coming to grips with the cord cutters and everything else. And yeah, you can cut the cord to a degree, but you still need that cable modem.
You still need the cable. And here's the interesting thing with the cord cutters. The cord cutter, they're cyclical. So what we're finding is the primary reason people cut the cord is to save on costs. And the people who want to save on costs are the people who can't afford. They want to put their money elsewhere. So it's the college kids, and then in their early 20s. And then as they grow up and they start making a little bit more money because you hire them and you pay them a fruitful salary. And then they get engaged and married. And now all of a sudden they're couch potatoes and they sit home. They don't go out to the bars anymore. They are starting, not everybody, but they are starting to change. They want to watch their shows live.
Like in our group, in our group, our peers, our network, I'm seeing a little bit of the opposite of that. Maybe just because our demographic is what it is. Our demographic and our friends, our network, they're geeks. So I'm seeing more. The mid to late 30s, mid to late 40s. That what. Forget this noise. I'm gonna. I don't need 8,000 channels of which I watch 7. I'm gonna go look at Hulu. I'm gonna go look at all these other things that are out there, and that is and I did. I had a conversation with a Comcast rep not too long ago. I was like, look, so I still I still it's been 5 years. I still have triple play on my account, and I'm like, look, I've never even plugged a phone into the jack that's that's where the phone goes. And I'm like, so what if we just drop that off? And he was like, well, laughably, that actually makes your cable modem more expensive because it's a bundle and it's a package. And all right, fine. So how is Comcast looking at that from a are we an infrastructure provider? Are we a cable provider? And are those two business units figuring out? Are they enemies? Are they friends? That's got to be a complicated conversation. Yeah.
No, we're integrating all of the technology together. The things that you can do on your TV today, and I realize there are a lot of people who have cut the telephone cord versus the video cord, and they're not using their phone. The capabilities of the home phone today are much different than they were before, and the value, depending on how you use your phone and if you do international calling, is significantly better than it was from when so many people did cut the cord. You can actually see your voicemail on your TV. Now, why in the world would you want to do that? Well, if the phone rings and you're sitting on the couch and you're snuggling with your family and you want to see, do I really need to go and answer that phone? It pulls up on your TV, and you can just hit ignore, or you can take the call. So there's a lot of ways that we're trying to integrate the technology. Everybody has a different need for how they're going to use technology. We just want to make it user-friendly and provide our customers with the most value.
No, makes sense. I know, one of the things that it's actually come in convenient for us, like when we've done stuff at Imperial House with the wrestling guys and some other stuff, the Xfinity Wi-Fi,
Yes.
that's out and ubiquitous everywhere. I know people were concerned when that first came out. They were like, oh, it's opening a hole in my modem. It's, or it's decreasing my speeds. And I know there are some people out there that kind of have that FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt about it. I mean, is it like, how is... I know it's not an issue, but like how is Comcast addressing that issue with people?
Well, first of all, we try to educate customers when they call us and ask. Every customer has the option. It's up to them if they want to turn off their hotspot. I consider it kind of a pay it forward. The more hotspots that are out there, the more you're going to connect for free.
But it's not open, though. You have to
actually right now on my hotspot. I auto-connected on my phone.
But you actually have to log in, though, to Comcast to your user ID, right? You can't just, it's not open web.
Exactly. You have to be a Comcast customer in order to take advantage. So if, God forbid, someone was trying to do something bad, it's going to track where that device,
precisely
what that account is. Absolutely.
No, 'cause some people, when that came out, a lot of people, it's just open internet, right?
Oh, yeah, no.
Public Wi-Fi at
It's
Starbucks.
not.
They're downloading porn from my house. I know they are.
Right.
It's not me, I swear.
They have
when
to
the
use
FBI shows up
their-
at my door, I'm blaming Comcast.
They're using their Xfinity account. And we've got over 10 million across, or close to 10 million across the nation. So
Wow.
I mean, it's adding a lot of value for people,
I mean-
saving on their wireless bills.
Yeah. I mean, before we head to the break, one of the programs that was near and dear to my heart was the Internet Essentials program. When we had Fred on almost like 70 episodes ago, it seems like, I brought materials over to my kids' school. It's basically, I'll let you go in and talk about it, but it's something that addresses a huge problem when we talk about connectivity in the city or kids that don't have that advantage to getting in. They got to go to the library. We hear stories all the time. She had to take the bus, 2 bus stops to get to the library just so she could do her homework. And Internet Essentials is a great program that I don't think a lot of people know about.
There are a lot of ways that Comcast gives back to the community, but I would say that bridging the digital divide through our Internet Essentials program is our main philanthropic cause. And what we do is we provide low-cost broadband speeds to homes of low-income families.
So if you're on free or reduced lunch, that's what I was told.
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of school districts, I know, for example, in Grand Rapids and I think in Detroit, because of the overwhelming percentage of kids who are eligible, they just basically open it to the whole school district.
Okay. I mean, I'm in Avondale and Auburn Hills, and we're 50% of the schools on free and reduced lunch.
And that's what's very surprising to people. People are assuming that it's just in the inner city, and it's not at all.
So is it still? I mean, back when I was working with our district, it was $9.95 a month, I believe.
It's still $9.95 a month,
Okay.
not $99.5.
Right.
And the criteria is the same, but we've made a lot of significant improvements. We've increased the speeds a couple of times. We've improved the eligibility by 30% because we want to get it into more homes. We've got an amnesty program, so if you have a past due amount that's over than a year old, we're going to waive it because we want to get internet into these kids' hands. And by the way, it's not just the kids that are benefiting. The parents, I've got stories about parents that use the internet to go online and get their online degrees, so that making them ineligible for the program so that they can provide for a better life for their families. So
Right.
It's a great program.
And something about, didn't they have like the $100 laptop too? Like they were selling refurb laptops in case,
We make them available, I think it's about $150, but
Okay.
still a pretty good
But
price.
still.
Yeah.
Absolutely, compared to what's out there.
And free online training. Free online in-person training, because if someone's never used the internet before, like you guys were talking about earlier, they don't know how to protect themselves from all this scary stuff that's out there.
And yeah, especially like, that we were talking about, there's a program called Hack for Kids, teaching security to basically, elementary school kids and junior high kids. Because again, they're just going on, my daughter downloaded all these mods for Minecraft, and all of a sudden she's got 72 viruses on her, in 1,000 pop-ups. And I'm like, oh my God, what'd you do? So I got to sit down and So, I mean, it's something people don't even think about. They're just saying, hey, I'm going to get this thing.
Right.
And they don't realize it's bad. But it's Google Internet Essentials. I believe it's .net. Am I correct? InternetEssentials.net. Regardless, Comcast Internet Essentials, all the information's there. If anybody's like a school leader or someone that's big, big in the community in terms of activism, I highly suggest getting involved. And it's a great program. It's something, like I said, I've promoted the living hell out of in my district.
Thank you for that. And if for whatever reason you can't find it, I think it's InternetEssentials.com. But anyone who wants to follow us at Comcast MI for Michigan on Twitter, I mean, we address customer service issues head on. We can get you to the right people for Internet Essentials. I mean, we're really trying to have a very hyper-local presence here in Michigan because we are a big company. And there are great things about being a big company, but we are still very locally based.
No, it's great news. And, we're going to take a quick break, but hopefully you can still hang out because there's still a lot more stuff we want to talk to you about. But, hey, we're going to come up against a break, segment 4, Royal Rumble time. This is the IT and the D show, and we will be right back.
This show is broadcasting live from Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming and is part of the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT and the D Show. No mercy.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.
Welcome back. Segment 4, the Royal Rumble edition of episode 102 of the IT in the D Show. This is Bob, the sales guy. We are in the Detroit Sound Studios above Activate Gaming in beautiful Ferndale, Michigan. Find us online, itinthed.com. And, you know what? Hit all the social stuff because you know where to find it. If you go there, just a couple things going on. August 20th, we're going to be at Hopcat. Mark your calendars. And the big one is September 17th, the Pink Slip Party at the Majestic.
The infamous Pink Slip Party.
Infamous.
Yeah.
If you are
we are bigger than El Guapo.
If you are a recruiter, hiring manager, if you just want to see what the market looks like, if you're looking for a new gig, or if you just want to network, that is the place to be. I think we're going to see a repeat appearance from DJ Nuri, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm going to be home. That's my birthday weekend, actually, the 19th. So I'll be totally here for it.
Beautiful. Nuri's going to be spinning tunes, and usually we have between 80 and 120 recruiters there, so it is definitely the place to go. And
it's not a bad night.
And not a lot of crappy lines. Nobody handing out postcards saying submit your resume online.
Go to our website.
Would you like to sell some knives? I got a great opportunity on the ground floor.
The best part is don't bring your resume. But yeah, hit itandthed.com/meet. There's an FAQ for the Pink Slip Party, and we would love to see you there.
MEAT or MEET?
MEAT.
Yeah, /MEAT is something totally different.
Can we change that? Can we change it to MEAT?
Just a picture of a meat stick.
That's what it should be. That the MEAT /MEAT should load the drop from Karen. I love my money meat.
So
stick.
can I admit something real quick? Speaking
of course.
Meat,
bare your soul by it.
Alexander and Hornig has a private label branding program that they're launching later on in the fall, and I'm trying to get IT and the D branded meat sticks.
I can actually break and I'd eat one. Just
no
on
promises, but I'm working on it. So then we'll have a IT and the D /MEAT, which would be amazing. So what? No, there's a whole. We had honestly 40 topics,
like 87 topics, and we got to 3 of them.
The one we didn't talk about is all the crap going on with Google. They finally caved in to the hate they got.
They finally admitted that Google Plus is the fail that we all knew that it was.
So you had to change your YouTube name. So now you can go back to being the troll name for the comments section. Now it's going to be amazing. Now that you don't have to use your real name.
Yeah, they're dropping the Google account requirement for all of their properties, starting with YouTube. So now we can leave nasty comments on videos again. And
Bertha Lovejoy.
Right. So is Google Plus dead? Because I said you can log in now to everything else using your Google. I always thought Mail should just be the default what your Google is.
Yeah.
Plus didn't make sense to me. It should just start adding things and clickety clicks to Gmail.
Yeah, no. Google Plus rapidly became the social media network for Google employees, and that's all it was. And actually, there was a good story we didn't get to where there was a Google employee who started a chat in one of their social media rooms about salaries. and she posted out what she was making, and she started a spreadsheet. And there was a whole to-do because people started adding to the spreadsheet. And then I got copied out to, the public internet. And then there was this and
Isn't that on Glassdoor.com anyway? What's the big deal?
Well, but I mean, it was from her perspective, there was a great article, and we'll have the link in the recap about, like what happens when you start talking about salaries at a company like Google.
I wouldn't know.
Well, she doesn't work there anymore. That's one of the things that happens when you start.
Well, typically, okay, so I don't know about you. You guys are in tech, but sales guys, it's all we talk about is pay. Like literally, it's like.
I'll be honest with you. Like I cannot tell you the last time I sat down and compared salary notes with with a peer or something like
all
that.
of us, like sales guys, when we all get in a room. I mean, even like when I with the Sublimity guys, when I had dinner, and there was a couple guys from NetApp showed up, and it became like this like. What do you
really?
Guys, oh God, that's all we talked about. Half the conversation was what do you get?
That's because all you sales guys care about is money. That's why you got into sales.
We're coin driven, man. Coin out, whatever, coin operated. But the one that so call me out if this is BS or not. I didn't get.
It's probably BS.
The Snopes version, but Google. It's not done yet, or it's not in the works. But they're planning on adding a truthfulness scale to their search rankings, meaning if something is BS. It's not going to be in the rankings. And again, I don't...
Yeah, who owned the Chiefs?
Right.
Who gets to decide whether or not something is truthful or not?
All I could think about was if you ever seen Revenge of the Nerds 2, when they put the athletic standards, and here comes Booger who goes, well, who sets the standards?
Right.
Right? And so I'm like, well... So here you have... So Snopes is considered the de facto... truth of the internet, right? It's ran by a husband and wife team. Like when
out of their home in Iowa?
Yeah, when the hell did they become the police? So then you have on the politics scale, you have PolitiFact, but a lot of well, who owns that? Like, you know what I mean? Is it
who sanctioned, who paid for the survey that came out?
Right. How come it's only the Republicans that are saying false and all the Democrats are saying true? It's
who edited Wikipedia this week? That Wikipedia article, where was that edited from?
Who edited it? Right.
The running gag is there are three kinds of lies in the world. There are lies, damn lies, and statistics. That's how that works out.
Well, how do you know he's not building model airplanes,
Right.
Next thing you know, change mishing off your dresser and your daughter's knocked up. I've seen it 100 times. Sorry, went Tommy Boy there.
Of all people, so number one, he's listening, and number two, Terry Bean is going to miss Google Plus. Aww. So he's the one.
He's the one.
Is he also going to miss?
He's the one.
Is he also going to miss Google Glass? Because did you see this week they admitted that they should not have done as large of a rollout with Google Glass as they did
because they created an entire segment of society called glass holes,
or restaurants in San Francisco that says Google Glass is not welcome here on their doors.
Image search, diarrhea, open 100 windows, go. See, I can't do that now. I was looking forward to that. That was going to be my life thing that I needed to have.
But on the similar topic of PR nightmares and PR debacles, so there was a fun little happening in Detroit it was I want to say Saturday night, where the 1-ton statue of Baphomet, the satanic statue, was unveiled.
Was Tenacious D there performing?
Yeah, it was a private invite event where you had to buy tickets because it's religion, so of course there has to be money involved. And then when you got to the first location that you were told to go to, then you had to sign a disclosure or a non-disclosure.
It's better than a non-disclosure.
And then you got to the location for the second location you had to go to, which is where it actually happened. So Nuri, go.
What they actually made you sign was your eternal soul over to Satan.
Come on.
No, I'm serious. And their whole logic was that a true Christian believer would never sign such a document. And the document was, I agree that by signing this document under any name, real or pseudonymous, I give my soul to Satan. I know that he or his representatives may collect my eternal soul at any time with or without notice.
I don't know. Satan reads legalese. Go figure.
How many lawyers have we told to go to hell in our lives? Let's
yeah, exactly.
And that's candidly, if you're gonna you think back through history all the way back to Faust and the great stories. If you're gonna sell your soul to the devil, shouldn't it be for more than just seeing a statue getting unveiled?
And I think that was their logic. And apparently it worked because the event went out without a hitch, without a single protester at the event.
Isn't that like the movie Bedazzled, one of the worst movies of all time with Brendan Fraser? Like he sold
that
his
was
soul to
terrible.
Elizabeth Hurley, who was the devil.
I can honestly say I never saw that movie.
See, he knows. Sure he knows. What a terrible piece of carp movie.
I have
at least, like,
general rule of thumb. I avoid movies starring Brendan Fraser.
okay. The movie wasn't the movie Hunk the same thing. Dude sells his soul to the devil because he wants to be like some like good looking dude. And you walk on the I don't know. Dang, next. What?
I stopped at The Devil Went Down to Georgia. That's what. Yeah.
And this should teach Oklahoma a very large lesson because Oklahoma had the chance to get it first, and they basically the whole thing was they wanted to put the statue next to the Ten Commandments in Oklahoma.
Button pushers.
That's exactly what they're doing. That's their entire mission, it seems like, is to push buttons. And basically, the Supreme Court just ruled in Oklahoma this week that the Ten Commandments cannot be on state grounds. And the governor has said it will stay, and now they're trying to impeach the justices. So here's my little...
So a good time will be had by all.
Have a nice day, Oklahoma. Right.
So speaking of a good time will be had by all, I'll be honest. I never thought... So and everybody brace yourselves, because this is a phrase that I assure you that you never expected to hear come flying out of my mouth. But thank you, George Lucas, for sticking to your guns and implementing your vision of Jar Jar Binks as it was going to be in Episode 1. Thank you for doing that, because if you missed the memo, there was a great little interview that came out with Ahmed Best, and it was on Vice and a couple other places, where apparently one of the people lobbying extremely hard to be the role of Jar Jar Binks was Michael Jackson. And he didn't want CGI. He wanted like Thriller-like makeup and prosthetics, and Michael Jackson, yes, that Michael Jackson, wanted to be Jar Jar Binks.
Was he still going to do the Bill Cosby dentist like voice, the go babiba habit like that voice, like Jar Jar? Or was he going to be like,
Misa thinking you so bad?
Luke, don't be so silly. Come on, Luke.
You're ignorant.
Ignorant.
all I'm thinking about is all the Drew and Mike drops, like doo-doo and feces. Like, oh my, that would have been
that actually would have made Episode 1 worse. I didn't think it was possible for Episode 1 to be a worse movie, but hearing that Michael Jackson could have been Jar Jar Binks, not CGI'd, in prosthetics, Episode 1 could have been worse.
You ain't bad. You ain't bad. In front of Darth Maul. You ain't nothing. So stupid.
Yeah, It's now forever changed my memory. Thanks, guys.
Oh, totally. But like, it wasn't NSYNC supposed to be in there? Like, they're trying to sneak them in.
They were, and I believe that was the second movie. They were trying to sneak them in as the band.
There's a bunch of guys. There's a bunch of guys getting snuck in from Episode 7
because Lucas's daughter was like really big into NSYNC, and that's how that whole almost happened.
What's the movie like when they did all like the end of the world with the two British guys that are fun, that are like the one's redhead and one's kind of fat. I don't know their names at all, but one of the guys, he's been in a whole like Buzz, or I forget.
Seth Rogen?
No, the British. But he's in Episode 7, and I'm like, that guy is in like all the British comedies when they're like all they do is drink pints of beer, and they're like they're in like the police movie.
Damn it, I can totally picture who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Hot Fuzz, thank you.
Thank you.
But he's going to be in Episode 7. They had some behind the scenes clips, and I'm like, really? Like they're just opening up now for anybody that donates.
It's just the cameo.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll put them, again, it's going to, hopefully they're not going to ruin it, but everyone's going to hate it anyway, so just let the beatings begin.
Exactly, because we all have to hate on it, but we'll all still be there opening night, midnight showing. Yeah, we will.
Absolutely.
But so speaking of and ignorant, we did get a little bit of good news where South Park has been renewed through 2019. And let's be honest, South Park is basically the pop culture barometer as it exists in media today.
There's two shows that are going to exist till the end of time, Cops and South Park. There's no way you can't have Cops till the end of time. There's always going to be, just go into Broward County in Florida, and you could just do Cops 24/7 there. You should have an all-Cop station, all South Park station. And there's no better show than South Park for like just destroying crap in pop culture.
And they're so timely. So you look at Family Guy, Simpsons, and all the other animated shows. They have like a 14 to 16 month turnaround time on their episodes. South Park cranks out their episodes in 6 days, which is why and it's still like, this is the one example I keep coming back to that floored me. Terry Schiavo died after being taken off the breathing tube. 5 days later, South Park had the episode about Kenny being on life support and getting pulled up into heaven to fight, the demons of hell. The entire, Terry Schiavo story out on Comedy Central. I mean, they're incredibly timely and topical and just on top of stuff.
It's not that they're hysterical. They freaking at the end of every episode, like I want to stand up and clap off my couch. Like I don't know how those what team of writers they have. The stuff's freaking genius. I'll throw it out there.
And what's funny is when I tell people I like South Park, they're like, "That's so immature. How could you watch a show like that?" It's just
Have
a
you
bunch
met
of
me?
fart jokes.
Yeah,
I'm like, it is the best social commentary we've got in the media today. I mean, these guys are. And then there was the one where Obama won his election, and the very next day they had his speech in the episode. And that was just
well, and the backstory on that was outstanding because it was the Change episode where it was Randy went on a rampage and got drunk, Stan's dad and told his boss to F off and kicked his boss in the nuts and because Obama's going to save the world and they did 2 entire episodes, one with McCain winning, one with Obama winning. And they waited until because election night was right before broadcast night, and then they cranked and did the last 5 minutes of material they needed to put into whichever episode featured the winner, and they were good to go for the broadcast.
Have you ever seen one of the making of shows?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's the most incredible thing ever.
Oh yeah, there was an hour documentary that was on HBO at some point that was it was phenomenal to watch. Watch what those guys and girls go through as they're coming down to crunch time, and they don't sleep. Like day one, they pitch topics, they pitch ideas. Day two, they're already they're coming back with full stories. Everybody's hanging out in sleeping bags and not they don't go home.
And some guy hops on his bicycle and drives the tape over to the studio and drops it off.
Yep.
The morning
sometimes an hour before broadcast is when Comedy Central gets the episode.
But I keep hearing over and over and over and over that those are the 2 coolest guys
in
in the history of Hollywood.
Matt Parker and Trey Stone, absolutely.
They're if you want to ever just have a normal conversation with normal people, there's in Hollywood there's no one cooler, more normal than those 2.
Did you guys see Book of Mormon when it came around?
Yeah.
It's the exact same humor in a much different way.
Isn't that where they made all their money? They were pretty much breaking South Park, not much. Book of Mormon, now they're in the stratosphere of wealth.
I think they sold out every show for 2 years straight.
More than
in New
that.
York City.
More
It's
than
just
that.
crazy.
Well, and also one of their best episodes. Let's be honest.
Can they still play that?
Yeah, they do.
Because I know the Scientology one they caught a lot of crap for. And
They still replay that.
Comedy Central still plays it.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, the ones they were catching flack over was so Chef died. The Isaac Hayes that did the voice of Chef died, and he was a staunch Scientologist, and so he had an issue when they did the Scientology episode and wanted to walk away from the show, and they literally that was one of the things that was in the documentary that I saw. They sat down with him. They were like, Isaac, we did Red Hot Catholic Gay Love about priests molesting little boys, and you had no issue being a part of that. You had no issue being a part of, episodes X, Y, and Z that were all about, these other, you were a part of, the Muhammad episode that, had people all freaked out and pissed off, and you were good with that. You can't pick and choose what you're going to be offended by because it happens to be about, it's what you hold near and dear to your heart. It's either all good or none of it's good. And he decided to walk away from the show. And that's why that one episode where the chef gets turned into basically Darth Vader over the course of the episode, that's why that episode is nothing but old Chef quotes. If you watch the last episode Chef was in.
I totally remember when that happened.
It's nothing but clips and quotes from his prior work.
Cut and pasted crap.
It was, I want to make love to your assholes, children.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
and that's all it was because he wouldn't take part in the show anymore, and then he died 3 months later, and it was a whole thing. But yeah.
On that note, can we do the dumbest person alive? I think this is the dumbest person alive. Then we'll end the show. There's a story came out at the Oakland Press today. I almost fell out of my chair.
Oh, this was outstanding. I'm not going to lie.
So they walk into a Metro PCS and they got 3 or 4 brand new iPhones, like factory sealed, right? And they're trying to sell them to the store.
So in plastic and everything?
Yeah. Sealed, plastic sealed, the whole nine. And so the store owner gives them whatever money for it. And they exchange, I don't know how they give them their phone number, but they exchange numbers and everything. And the guy opens up the iPhone cases and they were Play-Doh formed. Like the weight was the same as an iPhone.
No.
So the guy that owns the Metro PCS calls them, said, "Hey, I'd like to buy some more from you." So these dipshits show up with Oakland County sheriffs there and they arrest him.
Nice.
But I'm like, wait a minute. You sold him Play-Doh phones. You gave him your phone number. Then he calls you and wants to buy more. And you're like, okay. Like he probably figured the guy didn't want to, he didn't ever open them up. He just sold them as that. But I'm like, that's got to be probably the top 5 dumbest criminals I've ever heard in my life.
Well, it's like when we were talking about like the weed story earlier with,
Right.
down in Florida. Dude, it killed me. There was a great story like 4 years ago where basically cops raided a major drug operation and they confiscated like 800 pounds of marijuana out of this house. And then while they're all still walking around in raid and riot gear, like labeled police and DEA and SWAT, people are still walking up to the house trying to buy weed.
Hey, dog, can I get a quarter?
So they literally set up a cop in full SWAT gear at a table in the kitchen. They cleared out of the front yard and just let people keep walking up into the house who would see cop in full SWAT gear at the kitchen table. Hey, man, I'm looking to get an ounce.
You're not my regular guy. That's cool. He has a night off.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right.
Here's
$100. Can I get a QP? Man.
You know how many people though? You know how many people subscribe to the half-baked mentality though of like, I don't do drugs, just weed.
Right.
I mean, like they don't. For them, it's such a part of their life they don't even think that it's a problem.
Have you ever
Did
bought
you
weed?
say baked on purpose?
Half-baked.
You ever bought weed on weed?
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen that on weed.
But the fact that like 1 in 6 people are in jail right now because of it, that it's a natural going point.
Doing a longer sentence than people that like
murdered
killed people.
Yeah. Let's not even go there. But hey, we appreciate you guys hanging out. This is episode 102. We are the IT and the D show, and you still aren't. I just wanted to point that out. So drink up your drinks, get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. We will see you next week. Beat it.
See ya. And then don't forget, by all means, check out Podcast Detroit. That's the network where us and all the other shows are going to be hanging out at. So, yeah, we'll see you next week for episode 103.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Long live Flash. You've saved your life. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy.
Make the run. The run.
Game over, man. Game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Rude.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
就on the truth.
Bear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up.
Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Yeah.
kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city. I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this?
Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.
This is a previously recorded episode of the IT in the D Show.